just see how this goes. If you search Buchholz on Instagram, you'll come up with like a ton of different accounts. It's a ton. When I first started writing the script, there was 108 I could find. Now I'm on to like 113, and since it's the Instagram algorithm as well, it's like each time I search for it again, I find more. But nevertheless, anyway, if you search Buchholz on Instagram or BHS, you'll come up with a list of like 113 or so accounts. About 56% of these are inactive, not having posted since the 2022-2023 school year. 15% are like somewhat active, meaning that they've posted in like the last August to last December timeframe. And then the following 29% are active, or at least my definition of active is they've posted since the beginning of 2023. The majority of these accounts are what you would probably expect. You know, it's generally for official things that the school does. So like there's an official account for Buchholz, there's a Instagram account for the basketball team or the football team or the cheerleaders or Earth Club or BSU or DECA or so on and so forth. These, normal accounts make up about 59% of the 113 accounts. The other 41% of the Instagram accounts are, they focus more on the social aspects of the school. What each one focuses on varies, but it'll be like crushes or confessions or trying to hook people up or photos of people napping throughout the day or fights or whatever. For the purposes of convenience for this, and to get like an umbrella term for all of them, I'm just going to refer to all these social-based accounts as gossip accounts. To what degree they fit into that term depends, because some are a lot more gossipy and some are a lot less, but just for ones that focus on the social element of school or of Buchholz. I think these gossip accounts are kind of an overlooked aspect of schools, at least specifically Buchholz, and I think they are not getting enough attention in a way that they perhaps should be getting more scrutiny, or there should be more attention being paid to this as there is a bigger world out here. And I think examining that is important. I don't know if that made any sense, but that's the thesis statement. I think looking at the impact and effects of these gossip accounts is something that should be done and is currently not being done. So I'm being done, or I'm doing that. So we're doing that. I'm doing that. So let's do that. The general ethics of these gossip accounts is murky, to say the least. They're kind of generally gray because, of course, it depends on what content they're posting. I think it would be unfair and kind of ignorant of myself to group all of these as being harmful and negative or whatever, because there certainly are some that are that, but it's not all of them. Let me first start off by talking about the positive accounts. There's a handful of positive accounts, and again, this is all these positive, negative, neutral, these are based on my kind of identification of what they are. Just under 1/5 of the gossip accounts are positive. Admittedly, that's only like 8 out of 46, but it's something. So 4 of the positive accounts are pretty much the same thing. Senior college commitments. It's probably what you think. They take in submissions from people who will say their name, they'll say what college they're going to, they'll provide a photo, and they'll say what major. And then the account posts that, and it's all well and dandy. Each year, there's been one of these accounts for the senior class, at least each year since 2020. Overall, I think the senior commitments, it's kind of nice and fine. It's a good space to allow people to kind of say, hey, this is where I'm going, and announce what they're doing with their life, and allow other people that they know or just the general populace to kind of congratulate them on it. The comments for each of the posts are like, oh, great job, blah, 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 so on. And so I think it's nice. It's fine. As I said earlier, though, these are half of the positive accounts. One account that I count as being positive is Spider-Man at BHS. It's an old account that doesn't post anymore, and there's just like photos of a guy wearing a Spider-Man costume. And I saw that my sister was following it, and she went to Buchholz, so I asked her about it. And she said that apparently it was just this one kid who would always go to school events dressed up as Spider-Man, and that made him iconic. There's actually, in the mall at Buchholz, a photo of the kid as Spider-Man. It's up on the wall. Pretty visible as well. Another one of the positive accounts, it's like a wrestling meme page. It's private and they don't have a lot of followers. And essentially from what I've gotten to know about it is that it just posts memes about the wrestling team. And they all seem pretty fine, in good faith. It's a small community, so I think it's well and fine. There's also a matchmaking account that I found recently. I don't have it here in my script, but they would like post photos of people that people send in. And it's like, hey, heart this if you want to talk to the person. Like a very rudimentary kind of version of Tinder in a way, I guess. I don't know. It seems fine. And they're inactive for the most part anyway, so it's not like it really matters. But the last kind of positive account is the most intriguing to me, and that is the Buchholz Me Too account. And, you know, it's a bit hard to understand at first written out, but hearing it or maybe seeing it written out as Me Too instead of Me Too might help you. But it's a Buchholz account that's about talking about like Me Too stuff. I'll read their bio. This page was created strictly to inform the public about the sexual assaults and sexual harassments reported from Buchholz High School. They also expand on it a bit later in one of their first posts, saying, "This page is only here to raise awareness to the sexual harassments and assaults that occur on BHS campus. No report is too little. Our DMs are always open to all victims. We are here for you." And I mean, it's kind of just that. In each of their posts, they'll post screenshots that people either send in or have with the account, like talking about sexual assaults or sexual harassments or, you know, interactions they've had or just like kind of creepy, malicious behavior that they know about that people have, and they'll post it or show it. One of the issues though with it is that they keep everyone anonymous for the most part. And it's like, I get making it anonymous, the victims, you know, you want to protect them from any backlash or anything that may come out as a result of them speaking out. But they also, for like half of their posts, and I mean, they've only really posted like 4 times, but for half of their posts, they also censored the name of the person being accused. So it's kind of like, what's the point? If you're not going to publicly talk about who's doing these things, all it's really doing is kind of creating a almost environment or atmosphere that there is these sexual assaults and harassments going on that are happening and around you, but there's nothing to do about it. It's not great. But as I said, they don't have that many posts, and on their more recent ones, they do identify the instigator, accused, and so that's good. It's also only fair to mention, like, there's no proof. There's no evidence. There's no nothing. And I think considering that the only person that has any feeling of validity is the owner of the account. And I think that, especially if it's these one-off stories, it doesn't really mean much. But also at the same time, it doesn't mean much because it's these, like, I hate to say it, but it's these, from a purely pragmatic view, it's these, like, unfounded claims, but it's coming from nowhere and it's kind of a small account. So not only does it not mean much in terms of bringing about justice, but also it doesn't hurt the person's character, so it doesn't make it an issue. And it's also, it should be noted that a person coming out about a sexual harassment or sexual assault, it is meaningful in and of itself. What really gives it more meaning is proof and or a trend. So by that, I mean, I don't know why I'm going into this. A trend as in like a lot of people come out about this one guy, or it's like one person comes out and then the next one is like, yeah, that happened to me too, and then this person, and then that kind of gives it more meaning. But that's not really the case from at least what I can see for the majority of the Me Too posts. There's only one where that really is a thing. That's fine. And that's notable, and that makes me trust that post more because there's people in the comments saying, yeah, if this is about that person, I've also heard stuff about them and blah, 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 blah. And it's really sad if they're still doing this. And so it's like, okay, well, that's more substantiated. Anyway, the Me Too account is really unique in terms of all the other gossip accounts because it's arguably the least gossipy one. It's about real serious stuff. It's about sexual assaults and sexual harassments. I only really group it in with the rest here because it's not an official account. What kind of makes it different from some of the other accounts that post also explicit content is it seemingly that this one is for the purposes of exposing bad behavior. The account isn't for making drama or causing big conflict or gossiping or whatever. It's for exposing the roots of problems. So that's something. Anyway, I reached out to the person to try to do an interview. They originally responded and seemed down. I circulated back to them like a week or so later. They didn't respond. What can you do? That's the end of our positive accounts. Now time for our neutral accounts. And again, this is my definition of neutral. There is no playbook, there is no official guide or whatever. This is what I kind of deem to be in the neutral zone. So let me speed through a bunch of these just to get it over with. Just a brief little note from editor me. I cut out about half of the accounts that I talked about because they're just like not important or they haven't posted or there's just really not worth anything to discuss about. BHS parking fails. They've not posted since June 2022. They posted user submitted images of bad parking jobs. BHS plague doctors. This one is kind of really odd because it's almost like it's really depressing warnings about COVID before COVID really hit. And it was like, oh, there's this impending plague coming to Buchholz. Yeah, it's kind of really just doomer depressing feel. Buchholz rate page. Users would submit images of other students and the account would repost them and prompt the audience to rate them, presumably on attractiveness. While this is kind of setting up for failure, the comments are surprisingly wholesome. They're all like, oh my god, infinity out of 10, and blah 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 blah, or 1,359,000,000 bazillion 200,000. It's like that clip of Joe Biden.
$1,300,000,000,000,000,000.
Out of 10. Surprisingly wholesome, but I don't know. The circumstances of it are interesting, to say the least. Buchholz TikToks. Only have 2 posts, and each of them are a short TikTok clip. Nappers. They're private, and they haven't posted since December 2021. They just posted images of people sleeping at the school. Caught eating. Photos of people eating. That's literally it. It's pretty unassuming, except they have one post of a bunch of black students. The caption is, monkeys don't learn, don't get caught. So I don't know what's going on there, but hey, I'll leave that be. Graffiti. Images of graffiti and written messages around the school. Munchie page. Another account for photos of people eating. It has more followers than the previous one. Stalkers. This is oddly the most followed active gossip account. It's still active, as I just said, but it's kind of odd. It's just photos of random kids. I don't get the appeal. People like it, I guess, but I don't know. Anyway, after that, there's a bit more nuance to the other 3 neutral accounts. Fuck BHS Trump bitches. With 174 followers, the account is currently set to be private. It is also, of course, shadow banned by Instagram as a result of having fuck and bitches in its name. The account last posted when Biden won the election with an image of like rock on or something, but that means they've been inactive for a minute. So of course it's private, but there are some people that I know that follow it past the private filter. So from the posts that I've seen, it's kind of documented interactions with people who are posting or advocating or saying more conservative things. One post shows a back and forth between a boy and a girl where the guy just brings up like a lot of misogynistic talking points. He objectifies women as a whole, says how it's unfair women get all control over whether or not to have an abortion, briefly seems to reference women more often getting custody, then argues about what counts as consent and rape, and then complains about feminism. It's hard to really craft the post or his argument into one or even multiple coherent points, as it's just a lot of gish-galloping, throwing stuff out, but it just keeps moving on. They also posted an image of a white girl from Newberry High School who was just callously using the N-word. Then they reposted a TikTok by a girl that was essentially just a lot of conservative dog whistles. I'll play it here. What's kind of peculiar about this one, though, is that the girl, that's TikTok it was, Josie Boyd, messaged the account owner saying how they were being like a bitch for what they were posting. And it's kind of intriguing to me because the incel and the white girl who said the N-word, both of them I don't think still have those Instagram accounts, or at least there's no longer Instagram accounts by that name. And they also seemingly don't publicly flaunt their opinions or slur usage, but Josie does. The username that TikTok is on isn't a username anymore, but the Instagram account that she DM'd the fuck BHS Trump bitches account on is still her Instagram. And if you look at her Instagram and who she's following, it's a public Instagram. She's following like a bunch of, right-wing politicians and more like centrist commentators like Joe Rogan. And then there's also like making fun of liberals accounts. I don't know. But then also through finding her Instagram, that allowed me to find her new TikTok, which is the same as her old TikTok. And also on this TikTok, it has just a bunch of like conservative posts. Like there's one that was posted on January 6th, like kind of defending January 6th. There's one saying how like the Trump ideology as a whole is kind of smart. She calls like her critics snowflakes. It's also like in the DM that she sent to the fuck BHS Trump bitches account, she was like, why don't you just like leave people alone and let other people have their own political opinions? And that's interesting because Josie herself has posted a video or a TikTok kind of making fun, I think, of a guy who was like posting against toxic masculinity. I don't really know what her point is with the TikTok, but in the comments anyway, someone's like, why don't you just leave him alone? And she's like, I'll think about it. No. So okay. Oh, I forgot to say this. There's also a Trump flag that's in her room. I think that's still in her room. You can see it in multiple different TikToks hanging on the wall, and then there's one TikTok that shows that the lighting that the Trump flag is near is also the lighting that's in her bedroom, so I assume it's the same. I mean, who knows? She may have moved stuff around in the past 3 years, but to be fair, though, of course she's morally inconsistent. Of course. She's a Trump supporter, and therefore is a victim to kind of conservative rhetoric. And the fuck BHS Trump bitches account didn't really help her out of the rabbit hole that much. This is why I consider the fuck BHS Trump bitches account to be a neutral account, because while I do agree with the political ideologies, or as far as I can tell, of what they're posting, I don't like the way they handle themselves, I guess is a way to put it. Because in all of their interactions with other people, I don't think they're responsible in the way that they're trying to be like an expose account. They're a gossip account, and they kind of act as such. They're haphazard in what they post and how they handle the account, because all their opinions are made quite clear through their own comments. Owning the account makes clear your opinions, but it's made clear in how, in the captions and the descriptions, and how they go back and forth with people who DM into the account. They treat everyone as a prick, both the people they're talking to as pricks, but they're also acting kind of as a prick. It's like all the conversations are in bad faith. And of course, maybe, from the conservative side, those are going to be in bad faith. But it's like there doesn't seem to be any attempt to be the bigger person. There's no rising above it or whatever else. The account owner just gives them zero charitability and kind of just dogs on them and name calling, and it's useless. It's unnecessary. I think for an account that's kind of exposing of high schoolers with conservative ideals, the anchor of discussion should be more about the ideals, not about the identity politics of being a conservative or liberal or whatever. In the conversation that the fuck BHS Trump bitches account person wasn't involved in, the one with the incel, there's more discussions of ideologies. It's not a full discussion, because of course the boy is just ping-ponging off of Andrew Tate talking points, but it's something. They give me weird vibes, the account owner. Anyway, next on the docket, Buchholz Confess. Arguably one of, if not the most influential active account. They post confessions that people submit through a anonymous Google form. It's not anonymous. It's They say it's anonymous, and they don't record your email, but they do record the name and the photo associated with the email that you're submitting from. So it's not anonymous. The account owner is anonymous, and they don't publicly say who's posting the confessions, but the account owner knows, so it's not anonymous. Anyway, on the submission post, there's also a spot to put proof. That's kind of rarely used. The contents of each post varies a lot. Some posts are quite benign and innocuous. For example, big black balls. I saw a kid eat a piece of gum off the walls. We've been trying to reach you regarding your car's extended warranty. Or, I've been keeping this a secret all my life, but I'm finally gonna come out. I have a 13-inch penis. Some posts are kind of wholesome and light-hearted confessions. Name. Finest kid at BHS. Name. Is so cute. I have a crush on name. Then there's some that are genuine confessions, quotation marks around genuine. I want name to know that I want him to fuck hard as hell until I pass out. I have such a huge crush on name. I love his cute little butt and wish that he would choke me with his big man arms. I sucked off 2 people behind the Buchholz softball field. I'm pretty sure someone saw. They can join if they want. There's also some that are just more shit-talking insults. Name. Ugly as fuck, and somebody need to bring down that boy's ego. Name. Repeatedly called the male cheerleader slurs and other insults, and said if he was one of the players, he'd be embarrassed to have F-words cheering for him. Name. Has a sex tape. I saw name fucking a squirrel before a lunch on April 20th. Name was cheating on her boyfriend. Now, look, I think it can be easily deciphered that a lot of these confessions are jokes. For the one that said, name is cheating on her boyfriend, name herself responded saying, oh, damn, it was meant to be a secret. So it's okay, I think that's a joke then. Whoever submitted that. Or at least they're not treating it seriously. It was also a friend of mine was posted on there and something that I knew was clearly just not true. And I messaged him about it and he was like, oh yeah. And he just knew immediately who was the person that posted it. I mean, to be fair, it was posted a while ago and I was just recently sending it. And yeah, I think even though high schoolers can be a bit horny and down bad, it's also fair to assume that a lot of them are exaggerations, are not meant to be taken fully seriously in terms of how hyperbolic they are in a way. But it should also be noted that a handful of these, especially the ones with proof, are about more serious stuff and are more serious confessions. So the top 3 posts are more serious, or rather the top and the third most liked are about serious confessions. The second most liked was just kind of announcing that the district was no longer going with their planned policy of requiring clear backpacks. This is Morgan Campbell. She's in Buchholz cabinet / student government, as well as other high schooler things I would assume she's a part of. Morgan is in 3rd place on the confessions account in terms of most liked, having 112 likes. There being multiple confessions attached, each about Morgan, as well as an attached video of Morgan. This is Trinity Johnson. I remember I had 9th grade English with her. She's also in cabinet and other high schooler things, I would think. In 1st place, with 206 likes, Trinity Johnson is a racist, with an attached image. When each of these posts circulated, it did stir up the Buchholz social sphere a good bit. This commenter is correct, though, in that the Trinity Johnson photo did previously circulate around summer 2020, I think. That doesn't totally excuse the behavior, but kind of a bit more context. As I said, both Trinity and Morgan are in student government, cabinet, whatever. And I remember when the posts about them were circulating, there was a lot of talks or rumors of oh yeah, she's going to get kicked out of cabinet. She was kicked out of cabinet. In the end, I don't know if either of them were ever kicked out. And from what I've heard, neither was ever kicked out. The point of me bringing this up isn't to disparage these 2 people, nor is it to defend them and say, oh, they're victims of this horrible gossip account culture. They're both dumb. They both made pretty boneheaded moves, to say the least. But it's also, for both of them, I think even though we're almost, or if not all, legally adults that were raised in the information online era where we saw everything and heard everything and felt more or saw the repercussions of things more. A lot of us are still kind of immature. Not everyone is fully matured, and I think a person's definition of mature is different per person. But I think this is certainly something that could be considered immature, irresponsible, and unexcusable, and so on, and unacceptable. But I don't think their life deserves to be ruined for it. The handling of both of them, of the kind of controversy, has been a bit odd, and if anything more indicative of their character than the actual event, or at least their handling as far as I know. But yeah, but I think it's important to be charitable and to be open to reform, and even to Morgan for shouting the N-word at someone, which is crazy, and I don't know what the hell is going through her brain. But like, if iDubbbz, the guy who defended saying slurs, can learn that, oh, slurs are bad, then I think maybe anyone can. The last neutral account, and the last any account that I'm going to spotlight is BHS Crushes 2022-23. So this is the successor of a previous account that I didn't mention called Crush Bobcat, which was for the previous school year. And what both accounts do is that they take in, similar to the Confessions account, they take in submissions through Google form that actually is anonymous, and there in the Crushes form, it says like, what grade is the person you have a crush on, and then what's their name, and then why do you like them? And premise is pretty innocent. Execution, not so much. Based on my sampling of all their posts from December 2022 to January 18th, 2023, which is a total of 65 posts, about 60% of their posts are genuine, serious crushes. Okay, cool. The other 40% or so is harder to categorize. Big eyes and teeth good for eating carrots. When he bites his toes in class, it turns me on. She is not her. I'm not into her anymore. LOL. She's so thick, I'd just get a paper bag for the face though. She is so ugh. I want to beat it from the back. OMG, he's such a short king. I want to bounce all up and down on his dick, make him cream in my booty. One day he shall be mine. He's so cute. I wish I could ride him how he rides his longboard. I love his style. He's so hot and fine as fuck. I just want to F the shit out of him and bounce on it. He's so cute. I remember coming up to him. Be mines, I will treat you right, and also put this wet, tight peach emoji on you. She be so sexy and mysterious. I want to suck those little piggies. She a long tree that I want to knock down. He is so cute to me always. I just want to taste him. Wonder, do you like missionary? I want to rail her against a wall. I wank off every night to the thought of her. She's my idol. Some of these are kind of hard to stomach. What I find peculiar is that people are saying this, but of course, through this virtual forum that doesn't directly interact with the person they're saying it about. But of course, it would be wildly different if the person who had the crush and had these crazy reasons said it directly to the person it's about. Like, that's crazy. That would be 100% sexual harassment. And yet, since it's not directly to them, it's kind of in this, like, weird area. Considering that the Crushes account is the second largest active gossip account, I thought it would be important to have an interview with the owner. Keep in mind, I recorded this interview February 8th, which was well before I had done further research and saw how deep the rabbit hole goes, as well as fully chose my angle for this piece. Thank you so much for coming. And agreeing to do this. For all the submissions that you get, what makes you decide to post the ones that you do and not other ones?
So I post a majority of what I do. There have been few I haven't posted, like for example, trash talk and spam are two things I don't really post. I originally made it for the funny responses and also the real responses, because when you have a funny response, that just tends to go everywhere. Everyone sees it, it's funny. No harm, no foul. One thing I'll respect, people will request me to take something down. All I ask for is a reason. Because if it's not about you or your friends and you just don't like it, I'm not going to take it down. Now, if it's about you or your friend and it makes them uncomfortable, I've had girls say that, and I'm like, all right, I got you, and I took it down. There was one instance where a guy told me, take this one down. I asked why, and he never responded.
So also on the account, there's a lot of crass and, harsh wording. How do you work with that in terms of getting the submissions?
Personally, I do not believe in a lot of censorship. And as far as that, as long as no one's got any problems with it, I'll leave it up there.
So how are you able to identify the difference between stuff like that and stuff that you might consider as being like trash talking?
Because stuff like that is like compliments in a very mature kind of way. And trash talking would be talking about like, I don't like her boyfriend or I don't like his girlfriend. I hope they break up. I'm ready to throw down at any time type stuff. I don't believe a lot of it is mocking. I believe a lot of it is people sending in to see their crush's reaction and see if they can shoot their shot.
So from what I went through, it seemed about like 8% of them roughly, or actually 10% of them roughly, do seem to be mocking. What do you think about that? How there is kind of still this presence of mocking ones?
I mean, people are going to be people. As long as it's not direct trash talking, I kind of let it be.
Even though you believe in, don't censorship or don't censor, leave things the way they are, do you think, though, that because you are kind of providing this opportunity to people that it might be your obligation to, determine the implications of everything that's posted?
Well, there's a simple solution to that. If you don't like what I post, don't follow me. Block my account. I mean, it's kind of like the old-fashioned rule. If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Because the crush page isn't an essential page. You don't need it. It's not like the school page where important events are. This is just pure gossip, and it's if you want to see the gossip.
But couldn't you say, though, that you are in a way posting if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it, in what is being posted?
Like I said, a lot of it is just jokes. A lot of it's like mild stuff, fantasies.
As a whole, how do you think that the account has had an impact on the school community?
I mean, I think it might have brought a few people together. It definitely gives people entertainment. And so all around, I think it's been a pretty good thing just for fun.
At this point, like, how well-versed are you with this kinds of things? Because I assume you've had concerns about, like, admin and their thoughts on this. So, like, how are you about the rules, both for, like, students in terms of academic structure as well as the Instagram guidelines?
I have never thought once about the admins.
You haven't?
No.
So if they were to come to you and say, like, hey, you have to take this down, how would you react to that?
I would ask them why. And then if they gave a decent enough reason, I would consider. But highly likely, it's not going to happen because I've heard worse stuff going on in the hallways than what I have posted on the page. I have seen worse things at this school than what I've posted on the page.
So I should also mention that the Crushes account around the beginning of like 2023 that I know of personally, they posted some videos of some fights that were happening at the school. And I think the topic of fights as its own category and as its own kind of aspect of this social conversation is important. So I kind of asked him about that. So I also saw more recently that with a few of the fights that have gone on, you've posted videos of them that were going around. Do you have any concerns about, not so much if you have any, about how those may be received, but also the implications and kind of issues that might arise for the account as a whole?
No, there have been other accounts, not Beholds related, that have posted fights, never been taken down. Other accounts, such as other Beholds accounts, have posted the fights, nothing's happened. And everyone's always texting me, hey, send me the fight video, this, that, and the other, so I just posted there so they can see it.
I mean, you said you haven't even thought about admin. Do you have any concerns about things like that possibility, if you will?
I mean, after this, I do have slight concerns that one of the deans or Mr. Purvis himself will talk to me about it. I doubt anything's going to be done because this is just about people who go to our school. We've been on the news for worse stuff, so I don't really think this is such a bad thing.
On February 1st, 2023, in Berkeley Township, New Jersey, 14-year-old Adriana Kutch was attacked in the hallway of Central Regional High School by a group of 4 other students. While Adriana is walking with her boyfriend, 2 girls can be seen going up to physically confront her, while 2 others stay to record the interaction. Students could be heard cheering and giggling in the background. Adriana was left bloodied, bruised, and even briefly blacked out. A video recording by one of the attackers posted to TikTok began to circulate around the school before the end of the day.
That's what you guys.
2 days later, on February 3rd, Adriana was found dead in her home after taking her own life the night prior.
They just kept sending her videos, and then they would take like screenshots of the videos because the videos kept getting taken down, and then they would write nasty comments on it.
Y'all, she reported the vid of her getting her ass beat, so just hit my line for it.
I do know why it happened. It happened because these two haven't liked each other for a couple years, and she had been threatening my daughter online.
My daughter is strong, he said. She loved life. I can't believe they broke her. Since Adriana's passing, the 4 students involved in her attack have been charged. 1 student was charged with aggravated assault, 2 with conspiracy to commit aggravated assault, and another with harassment/disorderly conduct. There have been some protests at Central Regional High, and multiple online movements have been started. Hashtag Justice for Adriana Kutch has over 6 million views on TikTok. An account called Justice for Age, as well as the hashtag Justice for Age, have been created, both of which are primarily about getting, quote, justice for Adriana and reforms for handling bullying. An important facet of the story I should mention is how the Central Regional High School administration and the Central Regional School District have handled Adriana's bullying and suicide, or rather, how they have not handled it. The school has made conflicting claims about their immediate handling of the attack, both saying that they did notify the police as well as saying that it's against their policy to do so. Ultimately, what the school seems to have done was notify the resource officer about the attack, but nothing else.
The school lied to me. They did not tell me she was assaulted with a weapon. They didn't tell me she blacked out. They didn't call the police, even though they had a police officer in the school. They did not file a report. They told me that was not their policy.
A kid is assaulted with a weapon, and it's not their policy to call the police or to file a report?
Michael Cush tells me his daughter was taken to a nurse, not the hospital, even though she blacked out and had bruising over much of her body.
Triantafylos Parapolinis, the superintendent of the school, who is the highest paid administrator in town with a salary of $190,000, dismissed the severity of the school's mishandling to news publications. He said that they would not, quote, double whammy a student who acted out by both suspending them and filing a police report. Michael Kutch has argued that the school should have done more, both in protecting his daughter before the attack and after, but that instead their inaction led to Adriana taking her own life.
The school failed in every possible way.
Michael Cush wants to know why the school didn't call police or an ambulance.
A 14-year-old girl, my daughter, is literally hit so hard with a 20-ounce water bottle.
She blacks out, and they don't call an ambulance. They take her to the nurse's office.
It was a felony assault. They don't file a report. That's obstruction of justice. They're absolutely refusing to protect our children. I mean, why would anybody want to send their kids there?
As another student put it, quote, Adriana took her own life because nobody at the school was able to help or care or step in.
Getting hit in the face with a water bottle didn't hurt Adriana. What hurt Adriana was the embarrassment and humiliation. They just kept coming at her.
Adriana's wake was on Friday, February 10th. That morning, Paralipanides sent an email response to a list of questions from the Daily Mail. To phrase as the Daily Mail did, it was a, quote, heartless smear campaign. Among other things, he revealed private and possibly libelous information about Adriana and her family, saying that Michael Kutch had an affair while Adriana was in the 6th, which drove her mother to commit suicide, that Michael Kutch then married his alleged mistress, that Adriana's grades and choices declined in the years after her mother's suicide, and that the school offered drug and rehab and mental services on 5 occasions, but father refused every time. Later that day, Paralipanides was found sneaking out of his office and said that he had nothing more to say regarding his statements earlier that day. The following day, Paralipanides resigned effective immediately. Michael Kutch previously told the Daily Mail that Adriana's mother struggled with addiction and died when Adriana was 7. So about a 4-year difference. He also denied Paralipanides claiming about drug counseling being offered, and instead said that he and his wife were looking for help for Adriana after they had caught her smoking weed with a vape. Of course, even if Paralipanides' claims were or are true, it is still a flagrant and grotesque violation of confidentiality. Outside of that, the school has been punishing students for protesting, namely suspending them for doing so. Some students have claimed that school officials are even making fun of them for protesting. Numerous reports from parents and students alike have also come out about the school and district mishandling other incidents where the school should have stepped in.
Being bullied, no one cared. It was all swept under the table. Yes, I reported multiple times.
I called everybody in the school because I had gotten sexually assaulted last year. Nobody did anything about it.
Her girl, let them hear you.
Oh, really? That was not appropriate to say at all.
The point of bringing up the passing of Adriana Kutch isn't necessarily just to put a dour on this video or to make it seem gritty. That would be absurd, apathetic, and disgusting. The point is to show the real severity and consequences that social media, cyberbullying, and gossip culture can have on real people, especially when unmoderated. It might be easy for me or you or the average person to sit and read all of the intriguing or entertaining gossip, or to watch videos of enthralling fights. But that's because we're not the person on the other end. We are not the victim. Whether it be personal attacks, sexual harassment, public humiliation, or physical confrontation, we are not the ones on the receiving end. While some people may deserve some amount of being exposed and shame, such as for being bigots or predators, an equal, if not extremely higher amount of people being poised in the same light don't deserve it. This brings us to our final group of gossip accounts. Taking up just under 30% of the gossip accounts are the negative accounts. By negative, this has more of a clear-cut definition than just my feelings. I mean ones that kind of more clearly have, here as I put it, I mean that they're made either with malicious intent or rather with completely apathetic, careless, selfish intent. Negative. Uncaring about the implications and consequences onto others from what they may post. So from the list of accounts that I compiled, there's 11 negative accounts. Perhaps fortunately, all of them are not active. 8 are currently inactive, not having posted since the 2022-23 school year. 3 are only somewhat active. Again, they've posted since the beginning of the 2022-23 school year. But in fact, 6 of the accounts have never posted at all. That being said, though, I am not going to specifically name names of these accounts like I did for the positive and the neutral accounts, because 1, I don't think any extra attention should be given to them. 2, I don't want any attention that would be directed towards the accounts to then cause them to reactivate. And 3, I don't want to bring any attention to these accounts so as to spare the people kind of being highlighted in this negative way any additional scrutiny. The accounts are, of course, admittedly easy to find. Like, if you're really determined, you could find them. But I don't want any part in directly saying names. Also, considering that I don't want to give these too much attention, I'm going to keep my detailings brief for each of them. I'm also going to skip talking about 3 of the accounts because they've never really posted, and so I don't think it's really worth talking about them. 2 accounts are about Smash or Pass. For those over the age of 40, Smash or Pass is a game where a person is identified and all participants are meant to decide whether they would want to have sex with them or pass on them. The obvious issue with the Smash or Pass game, especially in a publicized format, is that both vote choices have negative implications. For one, the person is being directly sexualized, normally without their consent or desire. For the other, the person is getting publicly labeled as being unattractive. One of the Smash or Pass accounts has never posted. The other Smash or Pass is one of the most followed gossip accounts, but it's now private. They last posted November 15th, 2022. They would post on their story an image of someone and ask all viewers to vote on whether they would smash or pass. Then once the story's time was up, they would post the results of the poll as a normal Instagram post. Before their November 15th post, they also posted one similar post on November 14th, but prior to the 14th, they had not posted since February 2022. When this account was active, I remember hearing wind about it in particular a fairly large amount. Considering they're no longer active, I would assume their popularity caused them to become concerned about potential administrative consequences, so they stopped. But that's just my hunch. One is about catching people saying stuff. They only have 2 normal posts, and each one is just a clip of someone being secretly recorded and saying something a bit scandalous or rude.
Devon is stupid as fuck because he'll never get me. Damn!
It's illegal to do that in Florida, but whatever. The account has not made a post since February 2022. While I've been researching this video, though, they did make one story post on March 6th. They posted 2 phone numbers and encouraged their followers to cuss them out since they are testing the account owner's blood, which is just wild. The remaining 5 are what I was alluding to earlier by bringing up Adriana. Each account is dedicated towards posting videos of fights or people getting beaten up. 3 out of the 5 have never posted, but just have names referencing being about fights. The other 2, though, are the 2 most followed Buchholz gossip accounts. In fact, they're the 3rd and 10th most followed Buchholz accounts. Remember, this is out of a list of 113 accounts. The more popular of the 2 has 1,289 followers at the time of writing this. That puts it as having more followers than the DECA program, cheer, basketball, the theater program, as well as the other 110 accounts below it. The lesser followed of the 2 main fight pages is currently private. They last posted in March 2022. Since it is private and the owner is certainly no longer active, I don't have direct access to their posts. However, a friend of mine who follows it despite it being private has confirmed that all of the account's posts are just fight videos. The higher followed of the fight pages is still public though. They haven't posted since April 2022, but it's just not fun to watch. They have 8 posts. Pretty much all of them are fights. One of them, in fact, is a video of a girl getting surprised while she's on the toilet by someone bursting in and trying to hit her. Oddly, only one of these posts does actually have an Instagram sensitive content warning. Why is it just this one? Couldn't tell you. But for the most part, it's all just not fun fights. Not that there really is a fun fight, but there's head blows, people getting slammed, hitting people while they're down. At least for me, it's painful to watch. Cyberbullying has kind of always felt like this weird concept to me. Like, of course I know its existence. I know that it is harmful. I understand that. But, like, the exact details of what it would be have kind of seemed foreign to me. But this is cyberbullying. To varying, based on what level of cyberbullying, but it's cyberbullying.
This is the story of how I made a Shade Room Instagram account for a random high school in Kentucky. I'm from New Jersey. I've never been to Kentucky, so I obviously had to use Google to help me find Highlands High School. So I made this Instagram account, and my friends and I thought it was a really funny joke at first, but we realized we had to go through the tagged location to find anyone who goes to Highlands. We found people with HHS in their bios, and we followed them and waited for them to follow us back. This was my favorite anonymous DM I received. We started asking people for anonymous confessions, and some people thought it was a big joke, which it was, so they sent in bullshit, but most people sent in genuine answers, and some girls even started sending in really, really friendly messages to balance out the rude ones. and I promised them I would reveal my identity, but I wanted them to speculate first, and I don't think any of them knew that this was run by a girl in New Jersey who had no clue who they were. People made parody accounts. So yeah, sorry for causing drama. Bye, guys.
Around this point in planning the video, I kind of hit a writer's block because there is no happy ending. There is no, okay, well, this is what we can do and how we can take steps to fix it. Because ultimately, probably, everyone that's watching this kind of can't do anything. I kind of just hit a writer's block, but I just don't think it's fair to also leave this video off as a completely doomer, oh, there's nothing we can do and these accounts are wrecking havoc on the social sphere, because I don't feel that way either. But there was one thing that just kept coming back to me. I want to rail her against a wall and wank off every night to the thought of her. She's my idol. That's crazy. That's a crazy thing. That's a wild thing to say. It's unacceptable. It's grotesque. It's just abhorrent and disruptive and all these other things. It's bad. It's crazy. It's crazy that anyone would publicly say that, or even anonymously publicly say that. While looking through this video and a lot of the accounts and what they post, it was kind of appalling and shocking because a lot of the stuff is really wild. Again, as I briefly touched on earlier, if it was said directly to someone, it would be like immediately sexually harassment. Consider that. But since it's this like anonymous digital version, it's not, or is it? I don't know. I tried looking into this some, but it was all like in the workplace or whatever. And in the framework of workplace and like kind of Title IX stuff, it's, of course, this would be punishable. Of course, because under the Student Code of Conduct, it says on like free speech and off-campus behavior that you have the responsibility to recognize the rights of others by expressing yourself in a manner which does not disrupt the process of education, violate school rules, or interfere with the rights, safety, and or welfare of others. So in terms of what the administration can do, it is actionable. This is definitely, or could definitely be disruptive to the learning environment, to the school environment, to the social environment, to everything. So it is actionable through there. But what about like outside of school? Like outside of just the framework of administration and stuff. This feels crazy. Like there should be it shouldn't be allowed. And so that got me thinking. And then that got me thinking about, well, there's female content creators online and they deal with a lot of shit. So what about that? And then I kind of had the realization, this is just what it's like to be a woman online. And also in general. This topic is, of course, deep and very nuanced. I'm not going to talk about it too much as I'm certainly not a good resource for this. I'm an 18-year-old white boy in Florida. So some added context to this that I don't think I did quite enough of in all my previous recordings. So, deep fakes, right? You probably know what they are. Putting someone's face on someone else, or have it be like a voice and something. It's this like fake generation of someone that's not real. So I think this has been a thing prior to the recent developments in AI, but recently, because of the recent developments in AI, the ability to make deep fakes has gotten incredibly better. But not especially, but a lot of this is being used for porn. Because of course it is. Because porn is the cutting edge for technology. And that's a thing. That's a real thing. I'll Google it so I don't look like a degenerate. Porn, the hidden engine that drives innovation in tech. This is a Business Insider article. Yeah, so there's been a lot of deepfake pornography. And back in February, a relatively popular Twitch streamer accidentally showed that he had looked at a website where you could pay for deepfake pornography of internet figures like other Twitch streamers. And I think while that's unethical in its own right and immoral in its own way, I think the majority of people were more so frustrated at him because it set off the fire of everything and of this new discussion. And it was kind of like a Streisand effect, where there's this new horrible thing that's identified, but because of the discussion around it, now all the people that find it appealing, or that would find it appealing, now know about its existence. Separately from this, if you go to Reddit, so this is just Reddit, if you look up the name of like any popular female figure or Twitch streamer, you're gonna come up with like things about their sexualization. You can tell how rarely I use Reddit on my computer because these searches are from when I was researching it. But Pokimane is a very popular Twitch streamer. Pokimane, that's her subreddit, her official one at the top. Right below it, Pokimane Pics. Now it's safe for work results. Pokies, Pokimane Pics, Pokithick. Is Pokies actually about her? Nope, this is just normal porn. So let's try a different one. Valkyrae. She was just in Vogue, I think. Valkyrae Sexy. Let's see, what about Valkyrae _? Yup. What about... There was another one here. Valkyrae Pokimane. Yup. Maya Higa, who does... who does nature conservation. Education stuff. Maya Higa hot. Maya Higa not safe for work. Let's try Quarter Jade. Well, there's not one specifically for Quarter Jade, but look, there's one for Offline TV Girls, which is all about the girls that are in the organization that Quarter Jade is in. Cutie Cinderella. Look, Cutie Cinderella fans. I don't feel like clicking on it, but that's a photo of her butt. Cutie Cinderella feet. I think Blair, which is her real legal name, is also just stuff of her. What is this? Christ. Foosley leggings not safe for work. Oh, well, what about the guys? What about the guy streamers? What about the men? Let's look at the most watched people. Kai CNET. Does he have a not safe for work subreddit? Nope, doesn't seem to be. Oh, look, just a photo of other girls. Alright, let's see. Who else is big? XQC. Look, photos of him out in the wild. Clips of him. Right. Tarek. Communities. Okay, that's his subreddit. Nope. Nothing not safe for work. And let's try Hassan. A lot of people simp for Hassan. Let's see, does Hassan have a subreddit? No. Oh, no. Okay, so this is just meme posts about him smashing stuff. Yeah, so no, there's nothing on him. Ta-da, jazz hands. So, wonder what the trend is. So, I'm gonna play a clip by Cutie Cinderella, who was relatively or pretty close to the Twitch streamer that accidentally showed the deepfake porn website, just of her kind of stream soon after the grenade burst.
Yo, this is probably the stupidest thing I've ever done. And I'm sure everyone in the world would tell me not to go live right now. I'm sure everyone would. I'm like, don't even want to look at my phone. I'm sure everybody would. But I wanted to go live because this is what pain looks like. This is what it looks like. Okay? This is what it looks like. Fuck the fucking internet. Fuck the constant exploitation and objectification of women. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. Fuck Atrioc for showing it to thousands of people. Fuck the people DMing me pictures of myself from that website. Fuck you all. This is what it looks like. This is what the pain looks like. Okay? Why? Why? If you are able to look at women who are not selling themselves or benefiting off of being seen sexually. They're not benefiting, they're not selling it, they're not platforming it themselves. If you are able to look at that, you are the problem. You see women as an object. You should not be okay doing that. And it should not be a part of my job to have to pay money to get this stuff taken down. It should not be part of my job to be harassed, to see pictures of me nude spread around. It should not be something that is found on the internet. It shouldn't be. That shouldn't be a part of my job. And the fact that it is exhausting. That's all I have to say. I know I shouldn't have gone live, but I couldn't do it. I'm so exhausted, and I think you guys need to know what pain looks like, because this is it. This is what it looks like to feel violated. This is what it looks like to feel taken advantage of. This is what it looks like to see yourself naked against your will being spread all over the internet. This is what it looks like. That's it. That's all I have to say. Goodbye.
While the non-consensual sexualization of public figures is obviously an issue in its own right, the scale of the sexualization of women is only increasing. No longer is it just public figures. Kristen Zaleski, the director of forensic mental health at Keck Human Rights Clinic at the University of South California, said she's already worked with a small-town school teacher who lost her job after parents learned about AI porn made in the teacher's likeness without her consent. This is only made possible through being on an increasingly online world, which is unavoidable. When talking with a female friend of mine about this and showing her some of the comments posted about women content creators, she said, quote, "If anyone ever said this about me, I would stick a gun in my mouth." I know I may get people in the comments saying, well, this happens to men too, not just women. Yeah. But that doesn't undermine the importance of discussing it, especially considering the imbalance in occurrence for men versus women. There's a clear discrepancy in terms of prevalence. This is definitely an important topic, and I don't want to discredit that. But I think any kind of discussion or real analysis by myself here and now would be inappropriate and unfair. This is an important topic, and I'm not someone who should be speaking on it at all. Additionally, the point of this video is not the sexualization of women as a whole, it's school gossip accounts. The reason I bring up the widespread online sexualization of women is just to present that these accounts tap into an already prevalent but increasingly growing cesspool. It was like she was attacked twice. It used to be you'd go to school, get bullied, and then you left. But now you come home and you keep getting bullied. They still keep picking at you home. The excuse also that if you don't like whatever someone is publicly posting about you, you should just not follow them is apathetic and inconsiderate and self-centered as well.
People come in to chat because I deal with this because I'm a streamer, content creator. Nice to meet you. Big fan. And so people come in and they're like, dude, why do you get so mad? Like, it's like streaming. Like, why I should be able to say what I want. And it's like, no, it's kind of like, just block me if you don't want to talk to me. And it's like, no. You're doing this to me.
Wait, I know this.
I'm
Choke Me If You Hate Me. It's a Corpse song.
Choke me.
Yeah.
I'm playing by the rules
He worked on
by
that
existing. Song. And you're coming up to me and going, hey, what's up, pussy? And it's like, well, I'm going to block you. It's like, why are you blocking? Hey, I don't like that. Don't call me a pussy. Block me then. And that's what you're doing.
Insane.
Additionally, the guise of anonymity, not only for the people submitting to the accounts, but also the owners of the accounts, makes the possibility of accountability for those submitting, as well as redemption from unjust scrutiny, exponentially harder, if not impossible. The point I want to underscore is this. This is reckless. This kind of posting is reckless. It's reckless in terms of what effects it may have on others, as well as what effects it could very well have on the person posting it. And it's irresponsible. And I think giving the kind of opportunity and the platform to any Tom, Dick, and Harry to say whatever the hell they want is reckless. I think especially considering how anonymous it is. And so, okay, well, this is reckless. How do I show that this is reckless? I want to highlight that it's reckless and terms of their posting. I want to highlight it's reckless in terms of they don't really moderate what they post. I want to highlight it's reckless in that they're kind of disconnected from what they're posting about. And I want to highlight it's reckless in that kind of just dumb. But how can I do that? Hey. So I'm recording this right after I recorded another bit for this that I don't know if I'm going to use. But that is to say, I'm recording this like 2 or 3 or weeks or maybe a month after I recorded everything else. So there's been some developments. Okay. So, first off, let's rewind the clock a little bit. Remember those 2 racist girls? Yeah, I'm going to just refer to them as the racist girls because I don't know if I'm going to end up going back and censoring their names. But remember those 2? The girl that said the N-word and then the girl that did blackface? So, insider scoop for what went on since they're both in student government and cabinet. Apparently, the majority of the people in cabinet student government wanted to kick those people out. Understandably, not the smartest thing to do, blackface and say the N-word. However, the previous student activities director, as well as the current student activities director, as well as the principal, were defending them. For the girl with the blackface, they said it was a face mask, which is a possible legitimate excuse, because, hey, I went to Israel while ago and went to the Dead Sea, and I don't fuck with face masks because I'm a teenage boy and I don't like sticky things that go on my face. But my family put some face masks on and they were pretty dark, but my family had the awareness of, oh, this looks like blackface, we shouldn't post this anywhere, we should keep this just between us. So I guess I'm leaking that, but there was some knowledge there of like the implication. So I don't think the face mask excuse is fully excusable. So they didn't do anything. Also, they were saying that they were going to kick her out, but they never did and just made her delete her social medias for a couple of months. And then, of course, now she's back, as I showed. For the N-word girl, the admin also defended her, saying that she was probably lip syncing. Which, I'll replay the video, but it's pretty clear it's not lip syncing. Actually, here, I'm just going to pull it up on my phone and play it into the microphone. Let's pull that up.
Kick that nigger bitch.
So there is audio playing in the background. But it certainly doesn't sound like those are the lyrics that are going with it. Also, there was talk about kicking her out, but they never did. They were going to kick her out of cabinet and softball, but her mom went to the principal and cried, and they accepted it and said she was a mistake she was a mistake. They said she was a kid who made mistakes. All she had to do was apologize to the black cabinet members, which basically her apology was, I didn't say what you heard, it was a TikTok sound, and whether you believe me or not, I don't care. Now, getting into cabinet drama is not the focus of this video, nor is really the ongoings of a school the focus, it's more of a general thing at this point. So, this brings me to another point I want to bring up. The administration of Buchholz doesn't seem to really be doing anything about this. There is, in my opinion, clearly an issue with these social media accounts and all the postings that are going on and everything, and because there is a lot of negative consequences, I feel. But the administration doesn't seem to be doing anything. They don't seem to be addressing it in any way. I've heard that the principal has talked about it in like PTSA meetings. That's a PTSA meeting. That ain't the public. And also, I just heard that. I haven't gotten that confirmed. But it's also, there doesn't seem to be any attempts by the administration to deal with this in any way, despite all of the harmful effects of it. And it kind of seems two-faced how we have these, mental health presentations, which are clearly just mandated. And it's the most boring shit ever because they present it in the most horrible way as the most tame and unfathomable, vague stuff that it sucks. It seems hypocritical and also two-faced that they're doing that, sure, but they're not actually ever, sticking their fingers in to the mud and getting in the dirt and doing the work. Hell, I've probably done more to address this and deal with this than the school administration ever has. And I'm just a guy. That's it. I'm just a guy. I'm just a student who goes to the school. What am I? I'm not fucking Batman. I'm Jake. Also, when you consider how the admin is, according to the Me Too account, barely doing anything about any of this stuff, it's kind of gross. Irresponsible. Incredibly irresponsible. Alright, so, hi. It's much later than that past thing, which was already much later. I've had a long few weeks, but there's a lot more here to talk about in terms of the administration failing to address this issue and failing to deal with it, but I don't want to bog down this video that's already quite long, so I may turn that into a separate video. So I'm just saying that, just so that you know that that's the current plan. We'll see if I end up having the motivation. Hopefully I will, because there's a lot to unpack there, but yeah. Just thought it's relevant, so I wanted to include it here. Okay, so that's one thing. So to go back to where I was before this recording that I'm doing right now, I was stuck as I couldn't really find a ending to the story. I couldn't find a conclusion to the message. So I didn't really find anything, or I couldn't really stumble on anything. And how do I show this is reckless? And then I had the idea, what if I come up with a entirely fake person who doesn't go to Buchholz and get them intertwined in the Buchholz social sphere? What if I did that? And then what if I did that and then I submitted a thing about this fake person to some of these pages? Would they post it, even though this isn't a real person? And also, I'm going to be alleging some pretty wild stuff against them. And so I did it. So, I'm trying to remember the order I did things. So first it was coming up with a name, right? So I think I went to some random name generator website and I just did a bunch of ones and it gave me of course pretty generic names, and so I grabbed two, smushed them together. It was Sarah Anderson and then willfully McDonald, and then McDonald got me thinking about an old family friend whose last name was McDaniels, and then I was what if we did Sarah Daniels? Sarah Daniels, let's do that. And so I checked, because I'm in the morning news program, and I have some access to things that I probably shouldn't have access to. But, so I was able to check through the list of all the students at the school, and I'm pretty damn sure there was no one by the name of Sarah Daniels. I may be wrong if there's a freshman. There's a freshman named Sarah Daniels at Buchholz. I may not know that conclusively. Pretty sure I know that conclusively, but I may not. And it's also been a month since I did all this work, so I'm forgetting some of it. So my apologies. So, Sarah Daniels, right? Cool, the name works. So I then went to Instagram, and using a different email, a burner email that I have, I created an account by the name of Sarah Daniels. And so, account created. Then what I wanted to do is, okay, it's an account, it needs a profile picture, naturally. So I got an AI generated face from, oh, there was an old New York Times article. I think it was New York Times, or the New Yorker. I think it was New York Times, about AI generated faces, back when that was the big thing with AI. And so there was 7 different faces. They had a bunch of different faces that you could scroll through, and it would they would all be pretty similar. And so I pulled out these 7. 7? 7. So I pulled out these 7. Okay, so I have these 7 faces. However, these 7 faces don't really look like profile pictures, nor do they necessarily look like high schoolers. Okay, so what did I do? Because of course I don't want this to be a real person, because I'm going to be sexually harassing them, pretty much. Even though not really, but like kind of. It's weird for this to be a real person, so I don't want it to be a real person. And that's also why I didn't just do it about like a friend, because part of this is to also show these accounts are way too loose in what they are willing to post. And so the reason I didn't do this about a friend is I also don't want to sexually harass a friend of mine. Even though there were some friends that were willing to do it, still didn't really want to do it. So fake person, right? There's a high school I know of in like California, because I like I think it's in California, or it's somewhere more west than the fucking East Coast, because they had a really interesting like morning news program last year. And so I went to that school, and then I found like their general like Instagram page for like the school. And then I scrolled through who was following them as well as who they were following. And I chose like a random girl from there with like a kind of generic profile picture. And then I did FaceApp, and I put whichever one of these 7 faces was most compatible with their face. And so I did that. And then I was trying to get some help from some friends in my TV production class, and they criticized me and said that the profile picture was bad. So I chose a different person's profile picture, and then ended up choosing a different one of these faces and put it on. And so then they also helped me put together a bio that was believable, because I had like some like maybe too generic of stuff that I wrote up myself. So they advised me to make the account private, which was a good idea, because that makes it seem like it's an actual person. So I have access to this account. Well, bam. All right, this is Sarah Daniels. So I'll read you the bio. Florida, like island beach emoji. BHS 23, FSU 27, Proverbs 29:7. And then a Snapchat, which I think is a fake Snapchat, or at least I didn't make that Snapchat. And then at the bottom, which is the real kicker, new account since old one got hacked. So that provides us justification here for why this new person is coming out of nowhere with 0 followers and not following anyone, right? Yeah. Then we wanted to get a post. If an account is private, you can still see how many times they've posted. And so by having one post, it implies that there's something actually going on. So I got 2 photos of different sunrises or sunsets that I've taken across multiple different years. And I popped a filter on them. At this point, I'm going to stop saying it repeatedly, but this is with some of the input and advice from my friends. And then popped a filter on them, and then had the captioned summer sun emoji, and then posted that. So then this is what I does. So I had like a few of my friends in my TV class follow the account so that I would have like a few followers. So then with the account, I went through and I followed like the Buchholz account. I followed the FSU accounts. I think I followed like FSU class of 2027 account. And then I started going through like following lists or follower lists of, I think, the general Buchholz account as well as my own personal account. And I would follow everyone who had a public account and clearly went to Buchholz. So I did that for like a day. Is this guy's photography specialty just yellow photos? Look, it's all just yellow shit. Like, bro, diversify your color profile. But apparently Instagram caps you at like 100 new follows a day. So I does that. That's what I does. So I does that. Then I spent another day doing that. And this is also, of course, so I'm sending these follows out, and then in return, I'm getting a bunch of follower requests back, or like a sizable amount, especially considering this isn't a real fucking person. This person doesn't exist. So started getting followers back. Then what I did is I expanded to also doing private accounts that clearly went to the school. Did that. Of course, can only do batches of 100 per day, which is annoying. And then I started being less discriminate with it and just like more sending it out to like people. I still was like not the most spammy with it, and I got a sizable number of followers back. Currently, Sarah Daniels follows 734 people and has 336 people. Oh, hold on, it's about to be 337. 337 people. Let's see, I'll read off some notable mentions. There's a college ministry that follows it. The Stalkers account follows it. So while I'm scrolling, I do want to mention I very easily could have used this as a way to like snoop on people who I didn't know or don't know me or anything. So I want to clarify, when I was going through people to try to find people, I would scroll through some people's posts to see if they went to Buchholz, but I would only do that on people whose profiles were public. I would not look at anyone's profile who was private or anything, because after I followed them on the account, I never really engaged with anyone that was following it or anything. So I just want to say that. I'm sorry if anyone feels like violated or any way. I do apologize because I realized that could be a consequence of this, but it was truly not my intention. And I can assure you that I never did anything weird with it. And also, that's also why I'm going to be posting this publicly on the Sarah Daniels account. So it's like clear, like, hey, this account is catfish. Let's see. An army recruiter follows me. The Crushes page follows me. I'm saying me, it's Sarah Daniels. There's a lot of porn accounts. Florida State Parties. New and only party account for FSU. Let's go. There's also a number of like Sigma Grussel accounts. Well, whatever the female version of that would be. Dance Marathon follows it. Her. I don't know pronouns to use. Florida State 2027 intros. So welcome to the FSU class of 2027. It's odd, like a lot of people who I've read like shit about crushes on, like from editing this and going through this, like they follow the account. Josie, our good friend, she follows Sarah Daniels. Yeah, it's pretty much everyone of note. I may have missed some people when scrolling through. But 337 followers, following 734. Pretty much, except for like maybe 10 people that follow Sarah Daniels. These are all people who genuinely, feel bad saying this, but fell for the catfish. But so yeah. So, I did it. So that's how easy it is to, get into a social sphere. So once I had established that, I think I waited till the account surpassed my normal account's follower amount, which is like 150 or something. So then I submitted to the Crushes account. Part of this was I wanted to push the boundaries a little bit to see, hey, he said in the interview with them that sometimes he contacts people that it's being posted about to see if they're okay with it. There's one that said like, it was about a boy and it said, I want to ride him the way that he rides like a longboard or something.
Well, I mean, that goes back to what my beliefs in censorship are. Something like that, I find it funny. Plus, that guy, he was totally chill about it. Like he was actually like, yeah, and he posted it on his own story. And if one becomes excessive, like someone gets posted multiple times, and it's kind of like ticking me, I will ask that person if they are okay with it occasionally.
So I wanted to push that and test that. Would he actually do it? I also wanted to test to what degree of crassness would he actually post, and also to see if he would actually post it. So I also felt a bit weird writing this myself because it's supposed to be kind of really racy. So what did I do? I went through some of the Reddit posts and comments about Twitch streamers, and I compiled a list of like a few different ones that I thought were usable, and then I settled on one in particular, and then I went through and polled some of my friends about, hey, is this worse? Because a lot of this is based on the I want to rail you against the wall one, which was really appalling to me. And still kind of is, but since then they've posted some wild stuff as well that I haven't been fully keeping track of, full transparency, but like some of their newer stuff does rival it. But I want to rail you against a wall one. That was like kind of the model. That was the inspo, if you will. So I went through and I asked some of my friends, and people I knew. Which is worse? This one that I cobbled together from some Reddit posts, or I want to rail you against a wall one. I asked like one male friend about it, who's one of the first people I asked, and he said that the original one, the rail you against a wall one, was worse because it like implies a pattern of behavior, blah 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 blah. Everyone else I asked, who happened to be women, were all stunned at how horrible the one I cobbled together was. And so, as a result, that's the one we chose to do. So, on maybe like March, I don't know, I'll be able to find out in editing. End of March-ish, I think, I sent it in to the crushes page. Alright, I tweaked it a little bit, but now it's time to fucking submit this. And it can't believe I'm doing it, but then we played the waiting game to see if they would actually post it. But what I noticed was they hadn't posted since like early February. Ow! Fuck! Oh, I just hit a nerve on my like thigh with my elbow. Oh, it hurt. They hadn't posted for a while, and so it was kind of like, uh-oh. No, it wasn't like that. It was like, all right, so what's this? So I waited like 2 weeks, and then I DM'd the guy who runs the account because he gave me his contact info for the interview, and I was like, hey, I'm still working on the piece, but are you still posting on it? And he said that his phone got taken away, so he hadn't been posting on it, but that he got his phone back, and then boy did he start posting on it. Hoo-wee! Oh my god, I was at Passover Seder and my phone was buzzing like a bucking bronco. It was going nuts. He was posting a ton, and he would do it in batches of like 9 or 11. But he posted a ton, and in like the second or third batch, yeah, he's posted like 300 times since the interview. Oh, let me pull up a screenshot of it so I can read it out to you, because he posted it. Did he ever post it? God damn, she is so hot. Panting emoji. I want to bend her over a counter, fuck her hard, and nut in her. Or suck on her massive tits. Drooling emoji. Someone needs to milk her. What can I say? I hope my mom is proud of me for that one. Oh, that's tough. But yeah, and he posted it. I took a screenshot of the post on April 5th. It is May 3rd, full month later. The thing's still up. It's buried under like 200 posts, but it's still in there. This post about a not real person that doesn't go to the school. Yeah, it's still up. It has 12 likes. One of them is from a kid from TV production. Everyone else seemingly liked it genuinely. There's 2 comments. One is, nah, this brother's starving. And then the other says, oh. So, what's the point? Okay. This is reckless. This is really dumb. And I think this is a culture which is unsustainable and is inevitably gonna lead to horrible consequences. Now, I don't think that the guy that runs the crushes page is a horrible person. I don't. Is that influenced by the fact that he wanted me to help him promote a walkout about gun control? Like in support of gun control? Is it influenced by him asking me to do that? Yes, it is. But it's still not smart. And it's still, all of this is still not smart and not really thinking it through. Is that the message? It's kind of a lame message. I mean, I think I think these gossip accounts are for everywhere. We're in 2023. There's going to be these for like all high schools and shit. There was equivalents for previous generations and stuff. I think it's just a matter of keeping them healthy or like within a certain degree of health. Okay, things will get unruly sometimes, but like, there's too heavy of consequences for this to be totally messing around. And I don't think everyone realizes that. And also, school admin's not doing anything about it, which is kind of weird. And if anything, they're covering it up. Odd. Is that all I have to say? Oh! There is one thing I forgot to mention earlier. This is especially important now because you'll realize social media has an increasingly strong influence on our fucking lives. And okay, I said that already in this video, but have you considered the fact that there was a school shooting threat on Instagram? There's a school shooting threat posted to a random Instagram saying to avoid coming back to school the first day back from break. To avoid coming back from school if you don't want to get like shot up or something. And that was posted and circulated. And then the first day back from spring break, overheard from admin talking about it. There was 1,100 people that didn't come to school that day. 1,100. Sure, some of them were probably because, hey, it's the day right after spring break. Maybe their trip went on for a little bit too long. But 1,100 people? That's almost half of the school. It was also like maybe senior skip day, but like, there was some weird shit with that. But 1,100 people? That's a lot. I think the point of everything with this and creating the catfish and showing it is that there is no real second thought put into the process of sending this shit out. It's thoughtless. It's thrown out just for pure like entertainment and shits and giggles. But look, if you're fucking Sarah Daniels, like if you're her, that would be horrendous to have posted. Horrendous. Even if there's something in the description bio that says, DM me if you want it taken down. Because you don't want to be the one to ruin everyone's fun, you know? Alright, I'm going to stop this recording. I can tell that if I keep going, I'm just going to start rambling. Oh, fuck me. I spent an hour talking. So, wow, isn't that really fun and awesome? Hope you enjoyed. I've spent many months working on this, and it kind of has reached a point where I need this to be done so I can start working on other things that have more of a time limit. So I'm going to go do that, even though I still have to edit this and everything. But anyway, hope you enjoyed. Hope this was informative. If you liked, maybe pop a subscribe. I've made 2 other more serious videos like this and that you should check out. And then also check out the not serious videos I make, because they're funny, I think, and I hope. But yeah, so I'm gonna go edit this and then work on a charity fundraiser. Shaka. Also maybe subscribe, please. And yeah. Thanks for watching. See ya.